areas, yeah. I'll come to Jim Knight now. Jim.
Thank you both for coming. Thank you for restating your commitment to transparency, which is clearly fundamental if we're going to get a regime that works, and in particular if we get a UK licensing market that is vibrant and drives growth that we need in the economy. As the Chair alluded to earlier, we've had this issue with Grok that you've responded to, and the training data that will have been used for Grok, you'd have to assume included quite a lot of harmful data for it to be able to reproduce the harms that it has been reproducing. Does that create a stronger sense of urgency?
I don't think I could feel more urgent. Patience is not in any way one of my virtues, and I hope that my actions over recent days has shown that, but the government as a whole, whether that's in the Ministry of Justice through the Crime and Policing Bill. I mean, we have.
I'm thinking particularly about transparency rather than the Grok issue, which is being dealt with.
Absolutely. We are. Look, just to spell this out again, we made it illegal to share or attempt to share these images for individuals and for platforms, and it's also a priority offence now in the Online Safety Act. That's something that Peter Kyle did, my predecessor. We are criminalising the creation or asking to create these images, and we've said we'll bring forward the enforcement of that this week. And then we are also going to criminalise the sort of underlying model through the nudification app, banning nudification apps in the Crime and Policing Bill. So we are coming at this from this is illegal, and I think it's a really. I think on this we have a very strong package of measures. If there remain gaps, I'm prepared to go further, because I think it is, abhorrent. But it is also a matter of upholding British values and upholding the law. So I believe we should be able to uphold the law of the land in this land. And I've also said previously that if we find gaps, for example, around AI chatbots, some are covered, some aren't, we'll act. I take this issue extremely seriously, because right now, you obviously raise a really important point about, well, where are they getting these images from? Right now, my primary goal is to protect women and children.
And in this committee, we're really proud of the work that Baroness Owen did in raising this and driving this issue over the last year or two.
Can I say, there are, I'm still 3 or 4 months into this role. I know that I stand on the shoulders of many others who have fought for this for many years before.
On transparency, Lisa, you said that there were insufficient technical tools. That was one of the learnings from the workshops. Yep. We heard from Ed Connolly from Cloudflare when I asked him specifically about more granular transparency. He said that he did not believe that this is technically complicated. Mm-hmm. How do you decide who you're listening to when you get the technical advice? Because you've got the vested interests of some big tech companies, and then you might have another big tech company like Cloudflare directly contradicting. How do you make your judgment?
And so that is why we set up the working groups, and why we didn't just have one, because we wanted to cast the net very widely and hear the broadest range of voices. What we have had from those working groups, although there have been some quite serious disagreements and different points of view expressed by people in them, what we found is that doesn't divide neatly into creatives versus tech companies. So, as you're alluding to, there's quite a debate going on within tech companies about how you best approach this. But to give you an example of some of the things that have been identified by the participants in those working groups as missing, they wanted what they were asking for essentially was a triple lock approach. So metadata, watermarking, neural fingerprinting. And there were some very specific gaps that they have identified where there is going to have to be some more work on technical solutions. Now, I think your question really is, why aren't we getting on with the legislating around transparency?
Yeah.
And
how close are you to a workable solution is in the end the background question.
And particularly because, to go back to the question about urgency, is because this was urgent when we took office 18 months ago. So there's already a really detrimental effect on both industries as a consequence of not having clarity. So we really do recognise that, as Liz said, and I think, you know, patience, if I might agree, patience is not one of your great virtues. It's not really one of mine either.
So we love patience, yeah.
But what we don't want to do is bring forward legislation without having thought this through. And I think particularly those of you in here, all of you in here who were involved in the discussions around the data bill will appreciate that that's not where actually Parliament or government wants to be. We want to work together to find a solution that we know can hold and legislate or regulate in order to underpin that.
Let me just ask a couple of quick attempts at getting quick principle questions established. One, when you've found a workable transparency solution, do you envisage that being mandatory?
So we've previously given a commitment that we will legislate for that. We are, as Liz said, open-minded to being challenged about the assumptions that we've made, but that is our position. We haven't heard yet a reason not to do that.
Okay, thank you. And then on copyright law, previous suggestions from government that the law is uncertain has, we've heard, created somewhat of a chilling effect on the licensing market. It's been something that, as you've suggested, universally, creatives and the technical sector want certainty. So getting some certainty about licensing would be really helpful. Do you think some witnesses have told us they don't think the licensing laws should be changed at all? They're fine.
We've heard that as well. In the
do you have a view on that?
Look, there's a whole. If you look at all of these issues, transparency, licensing, if there are any exemptions, if so, for whom, can they be achieved? The truth of all of this is you can't do. I understand where you're rightly tempting us down the line. But it's a package. You know, the thing is a package together. It's got to work together. Not everybody will get everything. That's the nature of this, but we have to do a package. Because picking out one bit without another, without a comprehensive look, that is what we have committed to, that it is not just on those levels. We have to have something that goes across the board here. I think that's extremely important, a way forward that delivers for both sides. We have had a lot of comment that the existing scheme works. The only caveat I would put is a point that Lisa raised earlier, which is extremely important to me too, which is the individuals, the new starters. That's where the next great bit of creativity comes from, and I really want to make sure we have a system that works for, the small players, not just the big guys. That's a real principle for us as a government. Yeah. It's got to work, not just because we're a government that believes in fairness, but we actually believe that's the next new thing. Yeah. We've got to make sure that we protect that.
I think